Hi, it's Steve Morrison here, and you're listening to Chat with Chaps, chatting Millwall, come rain or shine.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day it is. You are watching and listening to Chat with Chaps, hosted by myself, Joe Zampa. And we're going to be doing an October review here. I'm sorry it's a little bit late, but we promised to get it out, and here we are. Those of you watching on YouTube are probably wondering, what are you doing, Joe, sitting next to what looks like Chris Chapman, and why is he not hosting it? Good question. That's not actually Chris Chapman. That is an AI version of Chris Chapman. I know it looks like him, but it's not quite him. The real Chris Chapman, as you guess, is away on holiday again, and he's in some tropical country, sunning it out with coconut oil over him, and you get the drill, don't you?
But very specific.
We've got the AI version, so hopefully the AI version will do today. So without further ado, to my left, I want to introduce Chris Chapman. How you doing, chaps?
I am fine. How are you? Mate, no, I'm good. Yeah, really looking forward to talking about October. It feels like it was ages ago. I mean, it was, to be fair.
It was. It was.
We're now in the November International break. Looking forward to it. And this one was, we'll talk about it later, but there was some really close calls on some of the awards. So it'd be interesting to get the boys' point of view.
Yeah. Well, just so you know, listeners, none of us know what the results are. We've all nominated across the Chat with Chaps panelists. So only Chris Chapman knows the results, but he will announce those shortly. Below me, as you can probably see by the glitter that's just come off his face after ironing his shirt and dusting off his flares and his platforms polished for tonight's shenanigans, is the one and only Disco Steve. How you doing, Disco?
I'm really good, Joe. I didn't think you could make me feel any better than you did, Chris, then, but I'll take that. I feel great now. Thank you. Glitter and all.
Glitter and all, exactly. And then to your left, or right, pretty much where you're looking at it, guys, is the guy who I said it before is putting Millwall on the social map, on the TikTok map, the probably best TikTok Millwall person, if you want to call it that, is TikTok George. How you doing, TikTok George?
Very good. Happy to be here again. Thank you for having me. I think you big me up a little bit too big, but say I'm very good. I'm very good.
How many followers you got now on TikTok, George? That's your new name now.
I'm up to 1.6, but growing. So hopefully by the end of the year, if I can hit the 2K mark, I think that would be a success.
Wow.
So, yes,
there you go, guys. He's got 1.6 million followers, which is fantastic. And I'm joking. So 1,600 is astonishing. And that's sort of gone up quite quick, hasn't it? Because I remember sort of when I first connected with you a few months back, I don't know how many you were, but I'm sure you're in the low hundreds, weren't you, at the time? So it's incredible, really, what you've achieved, isn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll say it's growing, and the niche audience and the target audience I've got is growing, and more people are starting to recognise as well. And there's a younger audience as well on TikTok as well, which I'm sort of branching out to. So listen, I'm enjoying the journey. That's more important. That's the most important thing.
I love that. The younger audience. This is the only reason why Chaps got you on here to appeal to a younger audience. We're all old and knackered.
Whoa! Like, come on, right? Don't let the grey hair fool you.
Don't let the grey hair. It's dyed, isn't it? It's not really grey. It's not really grey. Right, let's crack on, guys. Let's crack on. So before I hand you over to Chris to go through the awards, I just want to throw some stats at you. So again, as Chris said, October feels like it's a lifeline away, and there were 5 games, if you remember, played in October. We kicked off October with a 1-0 loss away to Cardiff, if you remember. We then followed with a 0-0 draw away to West Brom, which a lot of fans would say that was a decent point away from home. We then draw 1-1 at home to Derby with a late Ivanovic goal, if you remember, on the 85th minute. What a goal that was. Mm-hmm. We then followed up with a 1-0 win against Wayne Rooney's Plymouth Argyle. Again, Roman Esse steps in to score for us with a great goal, if you remember that one. And then we then win 1-0 away to Swansea, remember, with a 90th minute goal by Casper De Noor. So, again, not many goals scored, a few clean sheets. We played 5 games. We won 2 games. We drew 2, lost 1, scored 3, conceded 2, which gives us a +1 on goals. And we achieved 8 points out of a possible 15. So at the moment, November's looking better. But looking at October, we did some awards for it amongst ourselves, as we did in the previous month. And Chris will now take over and go through the awards and who were nominated and who won the award. So over to you, Chris.
Yes, mate. Yeah, thank you. And superbly done with your stats there.
Thank you very much.
2 goals. That's not. I know we only scored 3, but concede only 2 goals is bloody good. Our defence is good, isn't it?
In 5 games, yeah.
It's remarkable, really. And that's probably a nice segue, actually, to Player of the Month. So, as I said before, there are 10 people involved in the podcast, and we've all voted. And there's actually a joint Player of the Month, split right down the middle, with 4 votes each. The runner-up was Casper De Noor, who received 2 votes for Casper. But the joint Player of the Month was Romain Esse and Japhet Tanganga. And the reason I said it was a nice segue is because I think Tanganga being ever present in the centre of that defence, and of course Juicy Jake as well, I think has got a lot to do with the defensive solidarity that we've shown. But I think just 2 very, very good and talented players that we are blessed to have at our football club, and who knows how much longer they're going to be there for. But we should enjoy them, certainly whilst we have them. But I want to go to Joe and Steve, because you both voted for Casper, right? So just talk to us a little bit about why Casper caught your eye in October.
I'll let you go first, Steve. Disco.
I think it must be the Tuesday night club fog that got us. No, I just think Casper's just been growing and growing and growing as a player. It's quite interesting when Joe read out the stats, and like you said, Chris, when you hear we only let 2 goals in, you think actually, that was what our solidity was based on, really, or our performances was based on a really solid defence first and foremost after Cardiff. But for me, this season, Casper has just grown and grown and grown match by match. I think he's now making himself become an absolutely crucial part of the team. And what I love about him is he's mixing up now work rate, hard work, blocks, cutting the balls out, as well as the quality to take the ball and spray it around and keep possession. So, it doesn't surprise me, the winners there. But I think Casper was very worthy of a vote, certainly.
Yeah, I mean, just to echo what Disco says there. I mean, he's a player who we undoubtedly knew that he had the quality when he joined us last season, but there was always that question mark: can he do the dirty side of the game? And Harris was quite vocal in saying that he wanted his trusted players. He wanted the likes of Saville and Mitchell, the guys that are going to work hard and put tackles in. And I think in some ways, I think Casper realised that over the summer that he needs to adapt to become, and I hate using the terminology, the Millwall type player. And he's adapted. He's worked very, very hard on his off the ball side of things. He's been very good on the ball, but off the ball, he knows he has to work very hard. And we've seen him, work very hard. He's put a lot of tackles in. As Disco says, he's intercepted a lot of passes. I think he's actually won awards in recent weeks for the most interceptions of the month in the championship month. So it shows you how much he's thinking about and how hard he's working off the ball. So for me, and I guess for you, Disco, the reason why I chose him was for that reason. I just felt that, credit where credit's due. He's offered us a lot, in midfield, both on and off the ball, and he scored the winner against Swansea as well. So that was my reasons, and I'm sure that was probably Disco's reasons also.
Yeah.
You can't, to be honest, everything you said I agree with, right? I think we've October, November, we've had a good period, right? So there are going to be players and more than just one that are worthy of votes. And for me, Casper Romain and Jaffet are the first 3 names on the team sheet. If I'm being honest, that would be the 3 that I would put onto the team sheet. And George, you voted for, as did I, by the way, voted for Mr. Tanganga. What was it about Tango's performances in October that struck your eye?
Well, I think Neil Harris described him as a Premier League footballer, and I think we'd all agree Jaffet Tanganga is a Premier League footballer. And we all said in the summer how it was a fantastic coup to get him in on a free transfer. And there's no doubt if he continues the way he's performing this season, then we're going to make a very, very healthy profit on him for sure. Obviously, we want to keep it on the low. We don't want him to leave. We want him to remain at the football club for as long as possible. But no, Jaffet Tanganga's performances. But you can see since he's come in after his suspension, the amount of clean sheets we've kept, especially in October. I mean, we had 4 1-0 wins in a row, 4 clean sheets in a row. And I think that's largely down to the influence of Jaffet Tanganga. And of course, he did score recently. That was in November, so we'll leave that to a side. But Jaffet Tanganga's performances, the clean sheets, the composure on the ball. I think he's a real leader. I think the players look at him and go, "Wow, Jaffet Tanganga is one of the better players in the dressing room as well." Certainly, and Neil Harris says he's a Premier League footballer. So that's my reason why I've based just sort of clean sheets alone why I went with Jaffet Tanganga.
Yeah, George, I agree, mate. I think he's just, I say it a lot, but he's just like a Rolls Royce of a defender at this level. And you know what, the thing that impresses me most is it honestly feels like he's got more gears that he can go up. He just seems to do everything like, and I don't mean this in a bad way, I mean in a good way, but in like slow motion. Like he never seems to sprint. He never seems to exert energy, but yet he looks 10 times the player that most others are on the pitch. I just think he's brilliant, and he seems like a really good character. Joe and I are going to have the pleasure of hopefully meeting him on December the 1st because we're involved in the sponsorship for his kit this season. So, yeah, looking forward to talking to him and hopefully securing him a 10-year deal or something stupid like that. But
we'll try and get him on the show. We'll definitely ask the question, won't we?
Oh, yeah.
And I promise you, I won't embarrass you like I did with Bart last season.
How that went down. We don't need to talk about Rom right now because actually no, we do. He was runner-up in another award, so we should talk about Rom.
Chris, sorry to be a pain. Just before you do, just on Jaffet, I remember one of the first pods we did, and we'd signed him, Langstaff, and Jensen. I think were the 3 we'd signed just before. Yeah. And I think we asked the question, who are you most excited about for this season? And, you know, not stupidly, but actually at the time, I'm pretty sure I said Langstaff. I think he's going to be something different we haven't had, etc., etc. When I look at it now, he has just transformed us as a team, hasn't he, Jaffet? And I'll be honest, he's actually even better than I thought he was for the back end of last season. And he's getting better and better and better. So, Jesus, what's around the corner is going to be, you know, just a delight to watch, quite frankly.
And he's still, I think, only 25.
Wow.
Right? He's not old. Like, and I think I read somewhere that he's getting close now to, or it might have even already overtaken his total appearances in first team appearances in his entire career because he hasn't had that many starts. So, yeah, what a player, and we are very fortunate to have him.
And also, I know we mentioned it in previous shows, but you think about the contribution he made. He missed the first 2 or 3 games. And I remember us conceding 4 against Bristol and whoever else we conceded goals against. And as City's come in, I mean, we look so much more sure at the back there, don't we? I mean, Cooper actually looks like a decent championship player when Tan goes next to him. He has that effect on players, doesn't he, you know?
Agreed.
Yeah. And Coops is always, I remember we always used to say that Coops didn't look like the same player when Hutch went there, back in the when Hutch was like at his peak. And I think you can say the same now about Jaff. I think he makes Cooper look a bit, and that's not discrediting Coops because he's got his qualities, as we know. But yeah, what a player. But we should touch on Romain Esse because he also came joint in that. And George, what did you make of? I mean, we don't necessarily have to isolate it to October, but Rom's start to the season.
Very, very impressive. As we all know, we watch him every single week, and the way he just glides in and out of defenders, he's dribbling. I mean, you see a stat on Twitter or X now these days, but you see a stat every single match day saying that how Romain Esse's got the most dribbles in the league in that sort of period, in that match day period. But he's so good, isn't he? As the season's gone on as well, he's maturing. I think defensively this season as well, he's shored up a lot more. He tracks back. He gets his body in. He's a lot stronger. He's a lot physical. It's physical. Sorry, should I say? So yeah, I think Romain Esse he's our star boy, isn't he? He's the one who's going to go on and do big things. He's the best asset at the football club. And say between any of those three, between Casper, Romain, and Jaffa Tanganga, they've all had fantastic months. So deservedly so. They're all sort of joint. In terms of the voting system, but I'd say Romain Esse very good, very impressive.
Anything else to add, lads, on Rom?
Just to say, how much he's evolved as a player. I think George just touched on that. Under Harris, he's developing him into a very, very good player. We all knew how good he was technically, but he's working hard. He's tracking back. We actually get end product out of him. He's scoring goals, getting assists. And he looks like an integral part of our team at the moment. At one point, he'll be coming off the bench and not getting a starting place, whereas now he's the first person you put on the team sheet, in my opinion, because I think he's so important to our team and how we play. So a credit to the lad, really pleased. And also, something that goes unnoticed as well is for all his running, all his tracking back, all his dribbling, he always looks fit. Up until the 90th minute, this boy still runs. And you look at players, without naming too many or picking players out, but some players, they struggle when they get to sort of 70 minutes. Whereas Rom will run for you, and he puts in a lot of miles in there, a lot of kilometers. And like I said, the 90th minute, you still see him sprinting and tracking back and working hard. The boy's so fit as well as being technically gifted. We're just so lucky to have him. We really are.
A couple of points I want to make on Rom. Well, one of them's more about Harris is I think it's excellent man management that we've seen from Neil in the sense that he didn't throw him in last season. And there's a lot of people saying, no, he should. And he got little cameos here and there and under Gary, but we saw glimpses of his technical abilities, but never that final end product. And now, Harris was building him up. And I think Angelo, I hope you're feeling all right, my man, at the moment. But yeah, I think he alluded to the fact that, he waited until he was ready and then he threw him in, right? So I think that's one point. And then the second point is, at most other clubs, Romain Esse would have gone into the first team and he probably wouldn't have had to learn the defensive side as much as he does here because it's so integral to the way we play. So I think, if anything, that makes him a better player and sets him up even more so for success in the future because he's already learnt that bit, right? And to your point, Joe, he's fit. He's some of the. I think I noted down he made 5 tackles against Stoke.
Wow,
that's such a serious number, and also to be offered what he does in the going forward. So, what a talent! What a player! What a lovely lad as well to top it all off. A good human being first and foremost, and just like Tango, we should just enjoy him while he's here, right?
Absolutely,
spot on. Yeah.
Loving it. Okay, right. Because I'm a knob and I forgot, I don't have a little card for this one, but this is Opposition Player of the Month, and we can skip past this because who cares about anyone else? But we had a few different votes. There was a winner, but it was a real tight one. So honourable mentions. I think there's a few piss takes in here, if I'm being completely honest. But one of them was Jed Wallace. Which I thought was quite funny. Another one was Michael Obafemi, which also I thought was quite amusing. And then we move on to the serious ones. So we had Tom Fellows of West Brom. And then just pipped to the runner-up was Cashin of Derby. Was the centre back, and he didn't get my vote, but I do recall him having a very good game. So he got 2 votes, but the winner with I believe 4 votes. So it was actually a little bit clearer than I thought. Was Ruben Colwell of Cardiff, and Really, really good player. At times can be a luxury player, Ruben Colwill, because he's one of those typical, he has his socks by his ankles and he's a very flair player and likes to go forwards. But I personally remember him standing out against Cardiff. He got my vote, and I thought he was, he was. And again, he offered the tracking and the work going backwards as well. But I was really impressed with him. Steve, you also voted for Ruben Colwill. What was your sort of key takeout on his performance?
Yeah, I did. I remember, and I remember a mate of mine saying, "Who's that geezer with the woman's hairdo playing for Cardiff?" But look, and I think that was part of the reason he stood out. He did make a difference. He was a bit of a pain in the arse when he seemed to be everywhere and involved in everything good that they did. So when I looked back and thought who sort of impressed me, it's one of those. I found him a niggle on the day or the night, but actually you look at it and think he's a decent player. And it's no shock to me that since beating us, they went on a bloody fantastic run, didn't they? I think only until they've lost to Blackburn recently, they've been flying. And he's been integral to it, I believe. And from what I've seen on the highlights, he seems to be always involved, scored a cracking goal the other week. So yeah, he stood out for me, both in terms of looks, but more in terms of play. And like you say, quite interesting, luxury player. Great point from you before, Chris. He won't have to do the workload that Romain has to do. And yet Romain, we get both, So I know who I'd prefer in my team.
And we should maybe talk about how many other forward players, maybe Boyers signs is probably in a league of his own this season in terms of forward players. But I don't think there's many other forward players I'd swap Ron for at the moment, which says a lot. Anyway, we're going to move on from opposition player because sod them, I want to talk about us. So, Joe, reveal to us the moment of the month. What did you vote for? Because it is.
You know what? I knew you were going to say this, and I never can remember what I vote for.
There you bloody go.
Yay!
Come on.
Oh, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, look, for me, that was an amazing moment. I think it was disappointing for us to see that he wasn't starting that game, having such a great game.
So, sorry, Joe. For those listening on podcast, the winning moment was Casper's winner at Swansea.
Yeah, sorry about that. So, yeah, for me, I just thought it was an amazing moment because, he didn't start in that game. And I think the game before would have been against Plymouth, wasn't it, at home?
Plymouth.
I think he had a really good game against Plymouth. So, it was a bit unfair. People thought it was a bit unfair, but we all know why Harris did it for. He's trying to rotate our midfield because obviously he rested Saville in the last game against Stoke. So for me, it was disappointing to see him on the bench, but he come on and he played in this sort of number 10 role, didn't he, for Honeyman, if you remember? And he looked bright, he looked lively, he looked up for it. And, to score in a 90th minute, that winner, the way he did, in front of the away supporters, the second time in 2 years at Swansea as well, was just an amazing moment. I know it meant so much to him, it's much to the players, the fans, of course, So for me, it was an amazing moment. I was just so chuffed for him, so pleased for him. I know he doesn't score often, but he enjoys scoring. And you can see what it meant for him. You see the way he celebrated to the fans. He absolutely loved it, didn't he? And the fans realised that and honoured him, with his own little chant now, which goes a bit like this. Oh, Casper de Nore. Oh, Casper de... So he's got his own song now as well. What more do you want?
We're so inventive, aren't we? Jesus Christ.
I know.
Oh my God. Jeez.
Exactly.
Great creativity is through the roof, ain't it, at this club?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is, mate. It is.
Well, it's better than, was it Jed Wallace? Was it Jed Wallace? God.
And is it Denore or Denore or Denore?
I think it's Denora.
Denora, right.
Yeah.
Why can't we be like that, Denora, or something
I
like that?
know. I wanted that.
Bit of creativity,
Yeah.
We all voted, by the way. We all voted for that moment. So that got
Did we? Okay.
the 10, 60%. And when I say we, I mean the four on the show.
Yeah.
The runner-up with 40% of the vote was Ivanovic's first goal at the Den. Obviously,
what a great goal as well.
What a finish! And it's just exciting to know that he's probably anywhere between probably third and fourth choice striker at the minute, probably because Coburn's
Seems that
one.
way.
Yeah.
I don't know who's two because Harris threw Bradshaw and a curveball, didn't he? But to know that we've got this, I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing, but £2.5 million striker that's third or fourth choice. Sorry, I mean that's when have we ever had that luxury?
Never. I think quite honestly, I think we've ever been in a position where we've had a player that we paid that much money for, and we just let them be on the bench at the moment. I mean, clearly Harris sees him as a player for the future, or at least the club does anyway.
Yeah,
He signed a long-term deal, but he's a talented player, and I think he needs honourable mention as well, Ivanovic, for that goal. It was a great moment, and I can see why the others voted for him.
he also needs an honourable mention. Actually, now you said that, it's just reminded me of the goal that Kasper scored. Because if you remember, Harris brought on Kasper, Ivanovic, and Aziz, and all three of them combined. Because Ivanovic chased the keeper down, Vigouroux.
Well, sorry, Chris. Even before the keeper, he chased their fullback down. Do you remember? Which forced the fullback to play the ball back to the keeper, and then he carried on. So you carry on, gone.
Yeah, no, exactly. So he's done that bit, right? Vigouroux then plays and I don't know if any of you remember, but Lawrence Vigouroux, he used to be, I don't know if he was on loan at like Bristol Rovers or something, and he used to give it to us big time.
Really?
One of the keepers that really gives it to us. So the fact that he then cocked up, played it out, Femi Aziz, really good anticipation, drives with the ball, great ball to Kasper, and Kasper does the rest. But I just love the fact that, to me, that is representative of us making 3 changes and them all having an impact, right? And that was the squad. You know, when you think about October, that was when the squad started to come back to, other than Coburn, you know, like that just getting a few more bodies in. So that was brilliant. Absolutely love it.
Definitely.
All right. So that's that one done. Now we move on to goal of the month, and we've just talked about it a little bit. It is, of course, Ivanovic versus Derby. What a goal. And we've changed this, by the way, gents, slightly. So you can vote for save of the month as well, which we did actually get 2 votes for Jensen's double save against Swansea, if you recall.
That was great, yeah.
Very good.
But Steve, just talk to us a little bit about what impressed you about that goal. I mean, and the magnitude of obviously getting a point back against Derby. What impressed you about that finish?
Yeah, good point. Listen, it was so badly needed by us on the day, wasn't it? You know, that would have been a real blow to lose that game. And I've got to be honest, I don't think we were scoring had we not got that goal, even though we'd had the better of the game before that. It looked like it's one of those days. We got a bit of a lucky ricochet, but then the minute he got clear, he just went on that run, and he gave you, I don't know what it was, I'm watching on the telly, but you were just confident he's going to score this, you know, he's certainly going to, it just felt, didn't it? He's going to put this in. I didn't feel the normal, this is going over the bar or straight in the keeper. A bloody good keeper as well, very highly rated.
Yeah, he was.
Joe knows how to pronounce his name. I can't remember the keeper's name, but he's very, very good.
It's out of my memory bank now, Disco. I mean,
sorry, I've thrown you under the bus there.
It's about 27 characters long, wasn't it? That's way gone now.
You did it on the night brilliantly.
Yeah.
But look, the way he went round the keeper and then slotted it in. And I think I said on the following night, you know, the following couple of nights, I'm not going to take anything away from him. There was defenders on the lot or coming back as well, wasn't there? And you never know. They could have got a boot on that, and maybe other strikers. That's like poor old Langstaff at the moment with his luck probably would have got a boot to it, but they wouldn't get a boot to it because the crisp way he bloody finished it was just quality, wasn't it? You know, and then to see him do the old Mitrovic
celebration, yeah,
it was fantastic for him, for us. And look, he's only going to go from strength. He showed there the quality he's got. And didn't he say afterwards, I knew what I was going to do. As soon as I was going, I was loving the atmosphere.
So confident.
I knew. Exactly.
I love that.
Quality.
Love it. It's all it's all very positive at the minute,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's I know we're reviewing October, but it just feels like such a positive time to be a Millwall fan. All right, let's take it home then. So the final category, which I think we alluded to last time, I don't know if we did an official one, but we've got officially this time, is Unsung Hero of the Month. There was a winner, but there was also a very clear runner-up. So, George, I'll let you tell me who you voted for if you've got a better memory than Joe, because you picked the runner-up. I'll give you a big clue.
Don't give him a clue. Don't make it easy for him.
Oh,
Maybe look bad.
Yeah. I did vote for Lucas Jensen as my unsung hero of the month, and I think the reason for that is because he got a lot of stick after the Derby game, where lots of people, I didn't personally think this, but lots of people thought he could have done better with their goal, the Jerry Yates goal. People thought he could have done better, and he sort of just flaps it, and he didn't really look comfortable, and he backed up with 4 clean sheets on the spin after that, and made a fantastic double save in the next game against Swansea. So that's why I went with Lucas Jensen, just because I think he answered his critics a little bit, and since then he's been solid. So obviously a lot of criticism at the start of this season over potentially his distribution, over his sort of confidence when coming to collect the ball from crosses and set pieces. But I certainly think he's backed up with a really strong month and 4 clean sheets on the spin, which for his confidence obviously does absolute wonders. So.
And just to echo what George said there, Chris, I mean, that Swansea game, he was like unbelievable. I mean, Swansea created so many chances. I mean, I don't know what their XG was at the time, but they deserved to win that game, really, let's be honest. And he kept us in that game. The saves he made, not just a double save, but he made some really good saves throughout the whole game. But that double save just shows you if there's any Millwall fans doubting why we purchased him, why we went for him, watch the highlights of that game. And I guarantee you'll never question that ever again, would you? You know, he is an excellent shot stopper. Yes, he needs to improve in certain areas, but for me, he give praise where credit's due. He needs to be acknowledged for what a good goalkeeper he is, and he can only get better, I'm sure, in time. You know,
well, he's only 25, so he's young, right? For a goalkeeper, that's very young.
Very young.
And he's never played at this level, and he's coming into let's be honest, an unprecedented situation where he's got to replace someone that in Matty, that it's just such an odd situation for someone to be coming in. So, you know, I'm really pleased that it looks like he's now come out the other side. He's crossing, you know, he probably still needs to work on, but no, I think he's really showing us what he's capable of. And what I've been really impressed about that double save, by the way, Joe, is the timing of it. Because although they created a lot of chances, a lot of them were sort of towards the back end of the game. And that quite easily could have been a game, like to your point, where they could have scored. And then what actually happened is literally 5 minutes later, we went down the other end and
Casper scores.
So, really impressive. But he was runner-up.
Chris, can I'll just say there, look, I agree with that as well. He's growing and growing on me. And I have to agree with George with regards to the Derby goal, because any keeper that's trying to do the YMCA to stop the ball getting in the back of the net is good with Disco Steve.
See, it's by default. He just can't help himself, can he?
Sorry.
I'm going to set you a challenge. Every single show, you've got to try and integrate a different disco song into what you say.
Exactly.
Right, YMCA done. Love it.
Challenge. That's it. Throughout the whole season.
Challenge accepted.
Good man. Right, so he was runner-up. A couple of other names that weren't runner-up or winners, but I think it's worthwhile just reading out. Unsung Hero of the Month, fans who travel to Cardiff. I thought that was quite amusing. We had Cooper got a vote. Casper got a vote as well. And then Joe, you voted for.
You do realise you can say any name, and I'll go, yeah, that's right, and I have to sort of somehow think of something to say.
You voted for Murray Wallace.
Literally say a Marku right now, and I've got to think of a reason why I chose a Marku.
You voted for Langstaff, mate.
Did I? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah. The reason why I chose Langstaff was, so in all seriousness, I'm joking. I mean, Langstaff, yes, he's not prolific in scoring goals for us at the moment, but you can see the players working hard. He's fighting for the cause. He puts in the shift. He works hard. He runs the channels. He's creating chances for himself. Okay, he was unlucky on a couple of occasions. I think it was a game against Derby where he was kind of made that chance himself, didn't he? He went through and goal, just missed that chance there. So for me, I think he's just working very, very hard. I just feel that maybe he needs a little bit more luck in front of goal. And if he could build his confidence up, score one or two of his chances, I think there's a player there, there's a striker there. But yeah, for me, I think he puts a lot of effort in and doesn't get any sort of real credit at the moment. But yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Sorry, Disco. I was just going to say, like, who would you prefer to have in your starting 11 squad, Bradshaw or Langstaff?
There's Disco.
Oh, me? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry. Oh,
all of us. So I've just.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were asking Disco. Sorry.
Langstaff all day. And I totally echo what Joe said there. I didn't vote for him for that award, but absolutely a valid vote. And we talked about SA changing his game and developing his game to be more defensive. Look what Langstaff had to do.
It's true.
Come up a league, 2 leagues, sorry. Changed his game, and he's got a big smile on his face. He's a player, I'm telling you. He is a player.
Great attitude, didn't he?
Yeah, really has.
You can see that, can't you? And to answer your question, Chris, I would choose Langstaff over Bradshaw. I mean, I love Bradshaw. I love what he gives us, his energy, and and what he's done for our club. But with the injuries he's had, he's not quite as sharp as what he used to be. He's lost a little bit of yard of pace. But for me, Langstaff, I said it before, Langstaff is a younger version of Bradshaw. He's got that kind of that goal hunger in him, which Bradshaw always had. A fox in the box, if you want to call it that. But he's quicker. He's got a little bit more agility and ability in him, I believe. And out of the two, I will choose Langstaff over Bradshaw.
George, do you agree with that?
I agree. I think credit firstly to Neil Harris, because I think firstly he's sort of still embedding Macaulay Langstaff into it still. It's a big jump from League Two to the Championship, and he needs a little bit more time still. But I'm glad he's got his goal at last. He got his goal, and say hopefully with consistent minutes and consistent starts, he can build in it. And you said it, Chris, not too long ago, that you think next season Macaulay Langstaff can score bags of goals. And I agree. I think Macaulay Langstaff is destined at some point to become a really good Millwall striker, but certainly for sure over an aging Tom Bradshaw.
And
well put.
I would love, George, to see Langstaff in a 2 with Coburn.
I agree.
That gets me going. That does. That gets me going.
Because both of them can run, can't they? I mean, Langstaff, we talk about, he's quite quick. He can run. Coburn, deceptively, he is quick. You look at him, and the amount of times he runs, takes the ball out from our half and drives the ball, he's got some legs in him. So to have those two playing in a 4-4-2 counter-attacking type of formation, I think that they're made for it. I really do.
Well, hopefully we'll see that.
Yeah, the amount of times we get 2 centre halves at the Den and they look nice and settled, don't they? And just knocking everything out and on. They'll have a bloody torrid time, wouldn't they? With them two, they would be really put through the mincer, which would be fantastic.
Well, we shall see if that happens. I've got a feeling that in the November review, Mr. Coburn might feature quite heavily, but we shall see. But to wrap up this one, chaps, the winner of the Unsung Hero was Danny Mack. Danny Mack got 4 votes out of this. So 40% of the vote went to Danny Mack. Quickly, my 2 cents on Danny Mack and why I voted for him was I just think you haven't noticed a drop off in performance. And if anything, in some areas, maybe even you've picked up from a defensive standpoint. And I think that says a lot about a guy that was in the first team last year, if you remember, back in the back end of last season, he's come out of the side and then he's been thrown in and then come back out and been thrown in an unnatural position. And I don't really think he's put a foot wrong at all, to be honest. And I think that he is deserving of some kind of recognition, which for me, I felt this was because he's doing a very unglamorous job. Let's be fair, right? And I think personally think he was deserving of that. But Steve, you also voted for Danny Mack. What was your view on it?
Listen, for me, fantastic player, brilliant defender. I mean, we know he's a bit limited going forward, unfortunately, and I don't want to put a dampener on it. I rewatched some of the Stoke game the other night, and he gave the ball away a few times, and I think he showed his limitation of not being left-footed with that, actually, which I feel for him. But, I mean, I was at West Brom. For me, he was man of the match all day long, came in the side and shored us up against tough wingers, you know, and they swapped as well. Fellows and the other fella swapped around, and he held his own. He got done once, I think. But that's understandable.
Sorry to interrupt you, Disco, but you mentioned Fellows there again, and I picked him as my position player. I thought Fellows. I did remember that one actually, yeah. Well, only because you reminded me earlier. I probably would never remember that, to be honest with you. But I remember that game. Fellows gave Leonard a bit of a tough time, a bit of a torrid time, and it's very rarely you see Leonard get beaten or getting beaten to the byline and allowing players to get their crosses in. He did that a couple of times, but when they flipped it around, they put him on the other side with Danny Mack. Danny Mack had him in his pocket. To be honest with you,
brilliant. He was brilliant. Yeah. I wonder whether, because he's only short and he's only small, they must look at him. No, but they must look at him and think, "Fucking hell, we'll do a job on him here. You know, he's going to please me." He's a fantastic defender. There's no two ways about it. Man of the match for me at West Brom, and straight out the team for Derby, straight after, you know, after the international break. Which, look, I'm not saying it was the wrong decision, because to me that was a more attacking approach with putting Brian in against Derby at home. But you've got to think, Danny Mack's there thinking, what? Fucking hell, man of the match, what have I got to do? But you don't look it on his face. He's a proper squad player, good professional. He's in and out, as you said, Chris. And I haven't seen, he's hardly put a foot wrong defensively. He could be a bit more creative and attacking, but his first job is defensively. He is solid as a rock. And on the left, you know, fantastic.
And don't forget, when he came back out again, went back in, he came in against Leeds, which is a real tough game. And he was marking not David James, what's his name? Daniel James. And Daniel James is a very, very good player. I mean, he's probably Premiership quality, and he's quick as well. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think Daniel James did much at all in that game, if anything. Yeah, and got on the other side, looked quite good. But James was very, very quiet, and he was the player I was probably fearing the most. But Danny Mack stuck to him. He was on him, he was marking him out the game, and he'd done an amazing job on him. And I was quite impressed really with that game as well, especially the magnitude of being against Leeds as well. You know.
Yeah, very, very deserved. I mean, I think you could probably make a case for any of the players we talked about, but that's what, you know, just to kind of round this up. How nice has it been where you've got quite a few different options for these categories? And, you know, right now, if you had to pick a player of the year, you would struggle. I think you would have a lot of players. And, you know, Leonard was a slam dunk last season, and I don't think it will be this season based on what we've seen so far. So
it'll be really, really tough. Out of curiosity,
and yet, sorry, Joe, Chris, Leonard's been fantastic this season. But you're right. Wouldn't be first to think, he's player of the season, but he's been amazing. You know, we're in a good place, that's for sure.
Out of curiosity, just from another perspective, George, who would you pick out of Danny Mack and Joe Bryant left back?
I think the balance we've got right now is quite good. Where at home we play Joe Bryant, and away from home we play Danny McNamara, because away from home we know we're not going to have majority of the ball or any of the ball, and we're gonna sit back. And Danny Mack's perfect for that because he's defensively very solid. Although he's not left-footed, he's defensively very solid. And Joe Bryan, maybe at home, it gives us more of an attacking threat. But I think there's a great balance there. And so going back to Danny Mack, he's obviously increasingly frustrated this season. He hasn't been getting any minutes because Ryan Leonard on his side has just been that good. But when he does come in, he's a proper player, exceptional professional is what I would say. And I think, you know, listen, he loves the club. He's a Millwall boy. He's local. So, yeah, listen, very happy with Danny Mack.
And that's a really valid point you mentioned there, George, because some players could sulk, can moan. You hear about players moaning, sometimes not getting enough minutes. And you never, ever, very, very, ever hear Danny Mack complaining about not getting enough game time, or the media mentioning anything, or him coming out or saying, or any rumours. You know, he's a very, very good sort of modern pro, really. And as you say, when he does come in, he does a cracking job. You know, he might be dropped next game against Sunderland. Who knows? But the main thing is when he's called upon and when he's asked to come in, he does a brilliant job. So for me, I wish I changed my mind now. I wish I'd given my unsung hero to Danny Mack. But
we won anyway, so you're all right.
Yeah, I'm all right. I
So-
feel better. I could sleep well tonight.
Right, lads, we're going to wrap up there. Thank you for jumping on and giving your views. I'm looking forward to November, and maybe we also should throw in a little bit of a player of the season so far type thing in the November review. And to the listeners, thanks as always for listening. If you haven't yet, just give the show a like, or just interact with us in some way. I think a few people I said just put hi in the comments, and you did. That helps. I don't care what you say. So just do that for us. We really appreciate you listening all the time. If you have another award that you want us to start voting on, let us know, and we'll integrate that. And as always, thank you very much for listening. Thank you, chaps. Much appreciated. And we'll see you down there then after the international break.
And thank you, AI chaps. That's amazing. It's incredible what AI does. Technology these days, you know. We'll get the real chaps back next week, won't we? I'm sure. When he's back from his holiday again.
I've heard he's never coming back.
Yeah.
Right.
See you later, guys.
Thanks a lot. Bye for now.
Thank you.